This is going to be a hopefully short video, just a quick projects update. Now, occasionally I will work on projects and I won't video them. Now, there can be various reasons for this. I mean, it could be that I've already done a similar video, so it's pointless duplicating it again, or it could be that I'm doing something that someone else has done a video on and they've done a far better job than I could ever do, so there's no point. Other times I do like to work in the workshop without having to trip over camera tripods and video light stands. I just sometimes just want to work and not have the distraction of trying to make a video at the same time. So we've got a couple of examples in front of us here. Both of these I've been working on over the last month. So we'll close in and have a look at them. So what's in the box? What's in the box is an optical center punch. Now, if you watch my channel, odds on you also probably watch Mr. Factotum's workshop, which is Kev's channel. Kev's a brilliant machinist and he does absolute amazing work in his workshop. And just recently he did a video showing how to make an optical center punch. Now, I always wanted an optical center punch, but they're rather expensive, and as you know, I'm really tight and I was not prepared to spend the money. But once Kev did his video showing how to quite simply make one of these and pretty much made it out of stuff he had lying around in his workshop, I thought, right, well, you've got no bloody excuse now. You need to get on and make yourself one, and there it is. And it turned out really nice. I didn't have the acrylic rod, which is this little bit here, which is the optical part of the optical punch. You can see the crosshairs on the bottom there, I hope. So I did have to buy a bit of acrylic rod, and it cost me all of £7 from eBay. I bought, it's a 12mm diameter, 100mm length, and yeah, it just it was actually very easy to make. Well, all down to the fact that Kev's video was superb. I followed it basically to the letter. One slight alteration to the way Kev did his. He used an old tap for the punch. Now, I didn't have one, but what I did have was an old 10mm drill bit, which I used an angle grinder to cut a lump off the end of the drill bit, and then I turned the point on the end for the punch and I hardened it, and this seems to work absolutely fine. Obviously I think a tap would be better, but as Kev so rightly points out, you're not using this as a center punch, you're using this as a marking device. So it just creates a mark on the work where you can then get in with your actual center punch and, you know, punch it to the depth that you want. But no, I was quite surprised at how easy it was to make, and trust me, if I can make one, anyone can make one. So yeah, so that was one of the little projects. This was a bit of mahogany that I had left over from another project. The box also was made from the same bit of mahogany. The only difference is this is just bare wood at the moment, whereas that one's had some finishing oil put on it. But yeah, I'm, you know, like everyone else, I'm getting old and my eyesight ain't as good as it used to be, and this thing just makes marking out, particularly obviously for holes, it makes marking out just so much easier. So yeah, so that's one of the projects. The other one is this rather lovely Crosman 2200 Magnum air rifle. Now, about a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks now, I was fortunate enough to get some more donations to my channel in the form of some very old air guns. This was one of them. Now, when I received this, it was in a cardboard box, completely stripped down. So it was literally just a box of bits, and I didn't know what was there and what wasn't there. But it was a challenge, and I didn't know anything about the 2200. It's a multi-pump air rifle, just like the 761 XL I did, and the 766 Crosman I also did. In fact, it's very, very similar to the 766, which is why I didn't do a video on it because the internals are very similar to the 766. Now, it was missing a few parts. Most importantly, it was missing the hammer. The hammer is basically a lump of metal which, when you pull the bolt back, the hammer is pulled back against the spring and it locks on the seal. When you squeeze the trigger, it releases that bolt and it flies forward and hits the valve that's in the air cylinder, and then releases the air and fires a gun. That was missing completely, so I had to make one of those up. It was missing the cross bolt safety, it was missing the front sight, it was missing various pins from the inside, and of course it needed a seal kit because it's really old. This was made in 1980, it's a 44-year-old gun. But after a lot of work, we got there. And it's now fully operational, and it's a lovely gun, and it's very powerful. I put it through my chronograph, and on 10 pumps with my lightest 2.2 pellets, I'm getting 553 feet per second out of it, which for a pumper is pretty good. I was also given a big sack of bits, various barrels and air tubes and all sorts of stuff. And in the bottom, I found this Optical 4x20 scope. It was pretty grotty, it was really filthy, but it cleaned up all right, and it works. And yeah, pop that on, and it's, I think, period correct for the rifle. But yeah, these are amazing, these Crosman 2200s. The early ones particularly were very unusual in the fact that this is actually chrome plate, not nickel. This is chrome plate, and unusual to get chrome plate on an air rifle. So yeah, it's got a fully rifled barrel. Yeah, it's a really nice gun. But again, there was no point in me doing a video on the restoration of this because it's exactly the same as the videos that I did on the 766 Crosman. So it's just a repeat, really. It does have some peculiarities, this one. It is pellet only, yet it still has. Let me turn it upside down on its back side there. It still has the BB loading slot in the stock, like the 766 does, but it's as far as I know, it's not designed to shoot BBs. It's got no. Let me turn it around. It has no BB magazine on it or anything, and again, it has a rifle barrel, so why would you want to shoot BBs through it? But yeah, it turned out to be really nice gun. I was well impressed with it. I mean, there was a bit of rust on the barrel, which I cleaned off using the old wire wool and oil trick, but it wasn't. I don't think it was bad enough to warrant a re-blue. Originally, the front sight, which I've obviously replaced with one I've made, would have been black, but I did think about making it black. But I think it looks nice. It goes well with the chrome of the barrel band and the receiver. So yeah. So that one took me a long time to do because I had all these parts to make for it, and I literally only just got it finished. But well worth the effort. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I think that's about it. Let's bring the old optical centre punch back in. There we go. Like I said, if I can make one of these, anyone can. Oh, I almost forgot. I finally finished the little Willis Go D2, which is almost ready to run. Yeah, we can close in on that a little bit for you. Yeah, I finally got around to making that top ring out of aluminium, and I think it looks a hell of a lot better. Not quite there yet, but yes, I think that looks a lot better. I think I should have done that when I did the base initially, but that was made from that bit of home cast aluminium that you saw me make in an open sand cast recently, and it's lovely. It's machined up lovely. There's no inclusions in it or anything. It's just superb. So yeah, I'm well pleased with that. I definitely think it looks better. Interested to see what your comments are, but and as I said before, when I did the base, that it now runs at a constant speed thanks to the little burner, because obviously the flame height isn't altering, and it's rock steady because of the weight of the aluminium base, and the whole engine fits in this ring much better than it did in the plastic one that it came with. So obviously I was able to machine the internal bore out just to fit it. So yeah, there you go. So that's the little Willis Go D2. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the little projects update. Just included this one as a last minute thing because I've literally only just done that. But yeah, just to give you an idea of some of the things that I do work on, which I don't film, as I said earlier. I don't always film the stuff, so there you go. Quick project update. Well, I hope it's a quick project update. Anyway, that'll be it. As always, hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers!